Good morning, Ms. Mkhwanazi.
Good morning, Chairperson. Chairperson, we are ready to proceed. Our next witness has indicated that she will take the oath.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Please state your name for the record. Full name.
My name is Kelebogile Thepa.
Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Ms. Thepa, please confirm that you have in front of you 2 white files, one containing your witness statement and another one containing your annexure bundle.
I do have both. Thank you.
With respect to the file containing your witness statement, please confirm that that is your witness statement.
It is indeed my witness statement.
And that it was prepared for purposes of the evidence you intend to give before the Commission.
That is correct.
Can I ask you to turn to page 27 of your witness statement, please?
I am on 27.
Thank you. And do you confirm that that is your statement that appears at the top of page 27?
My signature.
Your
that's
signature,
correct.
my apologies, that
That's
appears.
correct.
Thank you. Do you confirm the correctness of your statement and stand by its contents?
That's correct.
Thank you. Ms. Thepa, can I ask you to turn to page 2, please, of your witness statement? And can we begin with paragraph 1 on page 2? And I ask you to read that into the record, please.
I am an adult female police officer in the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department, EMPD. I hold the rank of a lieutenant colonel. Prior to my deployment to my current station, I was the EMPD spokesperson and head of the media and PR unit. Excuse me, that would be head of the EMPD media and public relations unit. The facts set out in this statement are within my personal knowledge unless otherwise stated or indicated by the context. To the extent possible or feasible, I will attach any documents I rely on in substantiation of affirmations I make.
Ms. Thepa, immediately thereafter, you'll see a heading titled Background or Service History. That is paragraph 4 of your statement. Please share very briefly with the Commission your service history at EMPD.
Commissioners, I started with the EMPD in 2009 as a constable, trained, of course, at the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department's Training Academy in Guatemala. I was then deployed at Tembisa Precinct, where I was a constable there. Whilst at Tembisa Precinct, I then moved to the freeway unit, where I had operated. From the freeway unit, I was then seconded to the Training Academy as an instructor. Whilst an instructor, I was appointed and promoted to an inspector in 2014. I then continued the services within the Training Academy, and furthermore, I was further promoted in 2019 as a superintendent. I was then deployed at the Winnie Mandela Precinct Station in Tembisa, where I was a shift commander. And whilst there, I had completed my LLB and identified by the director of the region, who had then taken to maybe celebrate the fact that I had acquired this and said, you know, he should much rather refer me to an office where I would be more helpful. And she then referred me to the office of the Deputy Chief of Police, then who was Commissioner Mzolo. Commissioner Mzolo then referred me to the office of the Chief of Police, and that's where I had been working and being Chief Mabiyeye. During my time in the EMPD, I was again the commander for the VIP unit, and this was amongst others responsible for the conveyance and the protection of the city manager, Dr. Imogen Mashazi. So in 2021, I was then appointed the first female spokesperson of the department, which is still my designation, only that I am redeployed to the OR Tambo International Airport as precinct commander there. Thank you.
Thank you. And attached at paragraph 7 of your witness statement is your CV marked KX1. Can you confirm that?
I do confirm it, Commissioners.
Our next heading then relates to an overview of your role as spokesperson at EMPD. Can I ask you that you tell the Commission what your duties as a EMPD spokesperson involve?
So the duties as the spokesperson would be, in essence, dissemination of information by the department. Being a spokesperson, you speak on behalf of a department where the Chief of Police is accountable to same. So by virtue of speaking on behalf of a department and being a representative of such, you speak on behalf of the Chief of Police. And the duties would be taking things like conducting interviews when requests are being put, publication of death notices within the department, and the circulation of media releases that would have been compiled by the department, and of course taking all sorts of media inquiries that would have been directed to the department for that purpose.
In paragraph 8.2, still on page 3, you've indicated there that in addition to conducting interviews, your role also involves responding to basic media inquiries from various stakeholders. What kind of stakeholders does that include?
It would be media, it would be members of the public, it would be those that are coming forward and reporting anything that would be linked to the EMPD. So the first line of communication, it would be that it's sent to me and I would have to then disseminate it in the various sections of the department.
Paragraph 9 of your witness statement on page 4, please turn over. Yes. You set out how your role as EMPD spokesperson fits in a broader context within the city. Please describe that in detail to the Commission.
So the city of Ekurhuleni does have a communications and brand management department, and those are the custodians of communications within the city. And furthermore, from the policy that has been drafted, they had made provision for 4 sections or 4 departments within the city where spokespersons are appointed. We are now talking the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, where I'm assigned to and speak for the department. We are talking the Disaster and Emergency Management Services, where Mr. William Mkhwanazi is responsible for. We are talking the Office of the City Manager, where Mr. Zweli Dlamini, who is the city spokesperson again, is assigned to. And of course, the Office of the Executive Mayor, where another spokesperson is assigned.
You can continue to paragraph 10 as well.
Okay, so despite these demarcations in area of responsibility, the EMPD structure of the media and PR unit makes provision for only 2 posts or positions, being one a lieutenant colonel or a chief superintendent, and the other being an inspector, which is held by Inspector Kobedi Mokheseng. A request was further made to the department due to the nature and extent of the work that's been conducted to expand the team, and we were quite fortunate to have people seconded to the team, making a total of 9 members responsible for the 3 regions of Ekurhuleni, being the Northern Region, Southern Region, and the Eastern Region, and on a 24-hour basis, in essence.
Colonel Thepa, still in paragraph 10, you say there that, this is the second sentence, you indicate that a request was made to expand the team due to reasons that EMPD generated quite a bit of media attention. Please explain what you mean by that.
You would understand that our role and responsibility is, or rather our mandate, is that of traffic law enforcement, municipal bylaw enforcement, and crime prevention. So having to branch it out would get inquiries pertaining to the municipal bylaws, pertaining to the successes that would have as a department, pertaining to any other complaints. So in essence, it would just be a demarcation of all that.
Thank you. That then brings us to paragraph 11 of your witness statement on page 4. It begins a new theme titled The Blue Lights Scandal. Can I ask you to describe, with reference to paragraph 11, the events you set out from there and subsequently?
So on the 2nd of February in 2023, I received a call from a Mr. Jeff Wicks, who is a journalist, or going to be a journalist, making inquiries about certain documentation that he had in possession. But what he had sought from me on the call was to furnish my email address, which I did, and he then sent me the media inquiry.
To assist you in responding to my next few questions, Colonel, could I ask you to go to paragraph, my apologies, to page 10 of your annexure bundle? So if you go to your other file, you go to page 10.
I am on page 10.
Thank you. Please then turn back to your witness statement. Paragraph 12 on page 5.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and then
Ms. Mkhwanazi, we're looking at what annexure?
annexure KX3, Commissioner, on page 10.
Thank you.
Thank you. Colonel, we are then on page 5 of your witness statement, and I'd invite you to describe and discuss, with the Commission from page 12, from paragraph 12, the inquiry you received from Mr. Wicks, and you can have reference to the actual email itself in your annexure bundle.
Okay. So the inquiry was accompanied by a single-page document entitled Letter of Confirmation, signed by Brigadier Mkhwanazi, of course. I immediately recognized the signature as it is marked as annexed as KX2. So the email read as follows. Good morning, Soup. Thank you for coming back to me so promptly. I approach you today regarding a story that we are pursuing, which centers on a Pretoria-based security firm called Cat VIP. According to CIRA, Cat Protection and Security Pty Ltd, T/A VIP Protection Services CIRA 2748723 rather, is registered with the authority as a security service provider since 07 June 2018. I have in my possession correspondence under the letterhead of the City of Ekurhuleni and the Metropolitan Police Department. It is dated 16 October 2021 and is signed by Brigadier J.D. Mkhwanazi of Specialized Services. It is attached for your ease of reference.
Ms. Thepa, can I ask you to confirm the nature of that document referenced by Mr. Wicks? If you turn to annexure KX2, which is on page 7 of your annexure bundle, KX2 on page 7 of your annexure bundle.
Yes, so I had received this as an attachment to the email. So the letter reads, to whom it may concern, from J.D. Mkhwanazi, Acting Deputy Municipal Police, Commissioner / Brigadier, Specialized Services. It is, of course, on an EMPD and City of Ekurhuleni's letterhead. It reads, date 16 October 2021, letter of confirmation. This letter serves to confirm that the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department, EMPD, under the command of Acting Deputy Municipal Police Commissioner / Brigadier J.D. Mkhwanazi, of Specialized Services has an endless working relationship and memorandum of understanding with Cat VIP to assist EMPD officers in any VIP protection and security services in and out of the city of Ekurhuleni.
Thank you. And in the remainder of the letter, the writer sets out certain vehicles. Do you see those there?
That is correct.
And how many vehicles are listed there?
There are 7 vehicles listed.
At the bottom of that page, please inform the Commission what appears at the bottom of that page on page 7.
What appears at the bottom, it is the signature of Julius Mkhwanazi, also the acting Deputy Municipal Police Commissioner / Brigadier.
Thank you. Colonel, if we go back to your witness statement, in the final sentence of paragraph 12, where you were, paragraph 12, you say there that when you looked at the document entitled Letter of Confirmation, the document we just had regard to now,
Yes.
you say there, I immediately recognized the signature. Please describe to the Commission why you said that.
Commissioners, you would understand that as part of my process and experience within the EMPD, I had worked under specialized and operations where the commanders would be responsible for signing various documentations. It'd be operational plans, our timesheets, and various other communique within the city. So it was easy for me to identify and recognize such a signature.
Still on page 5 of your witness statement, in paragraph 13, you share more details about the inquiry from Mr. Wicks. Please continue.
So paragraph 13, Mr. Wicks also shared 2 video clips via WhatsApp. That is to my number. The videos had been circulating on social media and involved a woman subsequently identified as the wife/partner of Mr. Julius Mkhwanazi, who was seen being ferried to the airport in a vehicle ostensibly linked to the EMPD and fitted with blue lights. The said lady then posed with the caption, #MamaCat with the letter N, her fleet.
Please continue.
To properly respond to the inquiry, I then approached Commissioner Spies. He was the Deputy Chief of Police with the title Commissioner Spies, who was then the acting Chief of Police at the time due to the fact that the Chief of Police was on leave of absence. And because, of course, the alleged document looked very, very suspicious. I mean, how does one then reduce to writing something that would speak to whom it may concern? So, but above all, what caught my attention was the fact that it was on an EMPD letterhead. So in the event that it needed to be authenticated, this would be the process then to do it.
And so was it, a standard response for you to take a media inquiry to an acting chief of police, or was this a situation that warranted something out of the ordinary?
It depends on the complexity of the matter. When we speak of an inquiry on what would be illegal dumping that would be referred to as part of our municipal bylaws, then I would direct such correspondence to the director responsible for the bylaw section in that aspect. But I had said that when you speak, or rather when you are the spokesperson for the department, you speak on behalf of the accounting officer. It was only fitting that he's again informed of the occurrence or what has been brought to the attention of the department as a media inquiry.
Colonel, if I take you back to page 10 in the annexure bundle, page 10. This is still the email of Mr. Jeff Wicks to yourself of the 2nd of February.
Yes, ma'am.
You've taken the commission through the introductory paragraphs, as well as the fact that 2 videos were provided to you via WhatsApp. Towards the end of that page, you'll see there's a heading there titled questions. Do you see that?
Yes.
Indeed. And please take the commission through the questions directed to you from Mr. Wicks.
So the questions from Mr. Wicks were that, question number 1, please confirm that my assertion regarding the Road Traffic Act prohibits the use of blue dash lights and sirens are for the exclusive use of law enforcement is correct. Please, can you explain the substance of the letter from Mkhwanazi? How does this private firm assist EMPD officers in any VIP protection and security services? Please, could you supply me with a copy of a memorandum of understanding as mentioned in this letter? Do you acknowledge that it is uncommon for private security companies to have this authority bestowed upon them? Can you please describe the relationship between the EMPD and Mr. Matlala, inter alia his company, as we will assert that this is proof of connections of undue influence in a law enforcement body? And the last question was that please feel free to add anything beyond this which may be pertinent. Kindly note that the deadline for response is close of business tomorrow. Please speak to me if you require more time.
And in paragraph 16, you then detail the response you received. Paragraph 16 of your witness statement.
Yes.
Yes.
So what had happened is Commissioner Spies had further taken to respond to the media inquiries in saying that this letter looked very illegal. So he then, I suspect, took steps to verify if the listed vehicles were indeed registered under the EMPD or rather EMM's fleet. And then he further sponsored a response. And the response which I had to take to consideration and which I did consider and worked on the core agendas and further finished it as an official response from the department.
So, Colonel, at the end of paragraph 16 of your witness statement, you attach there annexure KX3. Can I ask you to then go to page 8? Page 8 of your annexure bundle, the
Yes.
other file. So you'll see this is the same annexure we were working from. We're just moving backwards. And page 8 there is a document. Please identify for the Commission what this document is.
So this document is an email from Commissioner Rebel Spies to myself, Kelebogile Thepa, and had CC'd Liesel Tyres and Ivan Duplessis. Liesel Tyres being the PA, the Office of the Chief of Police, and Ivan Duplessis being the staff officer. And again, also CC'd Eni Erasmus, who is head of our internal affairs unit. And where it had said that the subject was, of course, being request for comment, News 24 investigation.
So when you have a look at that email, which you say is the response to you from Commissioner Spies, is that correct?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Please read for the Commission what that first opening sentence is in his email.
So what he had reduced to writing as his response, the first opening line is, this is an illegal letter stroke decision. And then he further states that he will then refer, it reads, I will refer it to Lieutenant Colonel Erasmus for proper investigation. And he makes further submissions in saying that no civilians can be allowed to impersonate police officers at all. And the fact that this letter was actually issued assist these private individuals in committing the crime of impersonation. It is thus part of the crime. I have addressed the query, but it needs to be properly ventilated and confirmed with maybe Deputy Chief of Police, Mzolo, as well. There are no formal MOUs, and the officers act out of their own personal conduct, according to me.
Colonel Thepa, the remainder of this email from Commissioner Spies utilizes two colors. Do you see that?
That's correct.
There are 5 paragraphs there. Could you explain to the Commission what the purpose is of each of those separate paragraphs and the difference in the colors, what that represents?
Okay. So what the color coordination is, that what is being captured as black, that would be the questions that Mr. Wicks had posed to the department. And what is inserted in red, it would be the responses that Commissioner Spies had provided for consideration. And it just moves on according to the numbering of the questions and the responses given for each question.
And if you stay in your annexure bundle, but you turn to page 9, still in your annexure bundle, but you turn to page 9. What is that? Could you read that final paragraph in the email from Commissioner Spies? It says, "Can I therefore," could you read that?
Okay, it reads, "Can I therefore request that this not be divulged yet in order for us to investigate this matter urgently before the evidence is being removed or destroyed. Once we have all the evidence, then we can initiate the correct recourse and it won't matter anymore." And he signs it off with kind regards, Rebel Spies, Deputy Municipal Police Commissioner, Auxiliary and Support Services.
Colonel Thepa, can we then go back to your witnessed statement? You had just finished with paragraph 16, so we are now paragraph 17 on page 6. At this juncture, you've received the response from Commissioner Spies.
That's correct.
So please detail your next steps with reference to paragraph 17.
So I work on the corrigendas and I reduce to writing a formal response to Mr. Wicks, and which in essence was that the document does not look authentic, but that an internal investigation was being initiated and conducted.
And that then is the content of what is transmitted to Mr. Wicks, is that correct?
Correct.
Correct. Just for confirmation purposes, could I ask you to please turn to page 19 of your annexure bundle?
I am on page 19.
Please have regard there to paragraph. Let's actually start. Could I ask you to turn to page 18, actually? And read that heading in bold to the Commission, please, at the top of page 18.
The top of page 18, it is a statement under oath in English of Kelebogile Thepa.
And this is a statement you prepared for what purposes?
This was part of what would be investigation into the allegation.
Indeed. And then could I ask you to turn to paragraph 4 of that statement?
Paragraph 4.
Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Indeed. And could I ask you to read the second sentence of paragraph 4? Second sentence of paragraph 4. It starts, "The department submitted."
Yes, the department submitted the responses to the media house, responding to the questions posed. The department furnished the following responses in verbatim.
Thank you, Colonel Thepa. Commissioners, at the time of preparing Ms. Thepa's witness statement, we were unable to source the exact email that was transmitted to Mr. Wicks. However, it is replicated here in verbatim in the affidavit that she provided to IPID. And do you confirm the correctness of that?
I do confirm the correctness.
Thank you. And so just to conclude then, Ms. Thepa, upon receipt of the responses from Commissioner Spies that we have worked through, you then modified or edited the responses and provided that to Mr. Wicks in response to his media inquiry.
That is correct,
Is
Commissioner.
that a reflection? Thank you. Could I then ask you to turn back to page 6 of your witness statement, page 6?
I'm on page 6.
We are on paragraph 19. So So after you submitted the response to Mr. Jeff Wicks, what were any further developments thereafter?
On the 8th of Feb 2023, I received another email from Mr. Wicks, again inserted, and I would read it into record, which said, good morning, Chief Soup. Please see brief follow-up questions below as regards the memorandum previously sent to you. It is my information that the following vehicles are registered to the EMM, Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality Fleet. And he listed 3 vehicles there with the registrations: Delta Lima 03, Hotel Golf Papa, Juliet Papa 35, Juliet Whiskey Golf Papa, Bravo Zulu 99, Charlie Kilo Golf Papa. And his 2 questions that he posed to the department was, number 1 being, are these EMPD vehicles? And the second was, have these vehicles ever been allocated to EMPD? And then he closed it off with, please, may I have the first round of responses today and these tomorrow? Many thanks.
Thank you. And when you turn over the page in your witness statement, when you turn over the page at paragraph 20, you attach an annexure KX5, which reflects the contents of what you've just read. Do you confirm that?
I do confirm, Commissioner. Thank you.
What then was your response to this follow-up inquiry from Mr. Wicks?
I had remembered that I had forwarded to Commissioner Spies for further handling, but furthermore, that, you know, as the EMPD, we do not have, or rather, we don't reside with the powers of checking the fleet of the EMM, and that is the sole responsibility of the Transport Department. So within all vehicles that are under Ekurhuleni municipality, they are controlled from the Transport Department, where there's a proxy who has been assigned for the administration purposes of the said vehicles. So it wasn't anything that was easily accessible for me at that stage, but I would, of course, resorted it to explaining that element to him, that it's not information that I have in possession.
And can I ask you to have regard to what is contained at paragraph 21 of your statement?
Yes.
The second last sentence in paragraph 21. It starts with, I directed the. Do you see that? Paragraph 21.
Paragraph 21,
Yes. Could you address the commissioners with respect to that?
Okay, so the information sought in relation to the vehicles was not easily accessible, as the Transport Department Fleet Section is responsible for the management of all EMM vehicles. There is one proxy allocated for the city's fleet named Mr. Chris Stein. I directed the further inquiry to Commissioner Spies, but I don't recall whether I had obtained responses to these further inquiries or questions.
And to your knowledge then, when did the Blue Lights story by Mr. Jeff Wicks break? When did the story come out?
So in Feb, he was busy doing the media inquiries. And I think early in March, between late Feb, early March, that's when the story broke and it drew such traction.
Please continue from paragraph 23 and tell the commission about the impact of the story and the response, if any, from your office.
The story was indeed massive, and I received more media inquiries. The consistent theme was what was the outcome of the investigation into the conduct of Brigadier Mkhwanazi, and what steps did the department intend to take in respect of consequence management.
Please proceed.
The media and PR unit, as I had explained earlier, constituted members, about 9 members, as media liaison officers. I had taken this story on as the head of media and PR by virtue of the complexity that it came with it. And then from me having initiated and having received the inquiry, I just continued with further inquiries, which I would get regular queries again from various media agencies and news agencies. We're talking the likes of your News 24, IOL, so it's Daily Sun, the likes.
And Of the members of the media and PR unit who handled the TV or the radio interviews and who, took on the task of responding to the further inquiries that you describe in paragraph 24?
We haven't responded as a department to further inquiries. Yes, because at that time I would have informed the office of the city manager that let's have a consolidated type of approach when having to respond to such things.
Okay. If you have a look at paragraph 24 of your witness statement. Yeah. In the last sentence, you say, I regularly received queries and follow-up questions from various news agencies. Do you see that?
Yes.
Then, were these queries and follow-up questions ever responded to? And if so, who handled the responsibility of responding?
I would direct them to the office of the city manager, that the city's spokesperson takes charge of it, because now they're making inquiries on matters that wouldn't fall within the competency of a department. We are speaking human resource related matters as to issues of discipline. What steps is the department taking? It wouldn't be the prerogative of the department, but that of human resources.
Colonel Thepa, can I ask you to expound further on what you just said with reference to paragraph 25 and 26? So if you turn over the page, your witness statement, page 8.
Yes.
And you just explain to the commission a little bit more about what you just said about the competencies.
Being a spokesperson for the department, I speak for the policing leg of the Metro Police Department. And Zweli, who is responsible, or rather is the spokesperson for the city of Ekurhuleni, will then be better placed to respond to questions that are HR related, transport related, department related, but mine was really restricted to the policing leg of the city.
And if you have regard to paragraph 25
Yes.
of your witness statement, the last sentence of paragraph 25.
Yes, it reads, I suggested that EMPD as well as the office of the city manager issue a comprehensive response, that whatever information the office of the city manager would seek, as a department, we are able to provide, and that her office then takes charge in responding to what would be the human resource element of it, the transport department element of it, because it's nothing that the EMPD is having jurisdiction in that regard.
With reference to paragraph 26 of your witness statement, what was your motivation for proposing a joint statement between EMPD and the office of the city manager?
Above anything else, it would be that which would be conflicting statements coming out from the same institution, dealing with the same matter, but yet there would be conflict with the statement. And that, again, the questions were rather technical and required further engagement with other departments that I wouldn't be able to acquire, and that the office of the city manager would be better placed. And this, again, the questions required technical response, and the office of the city manager could quickly assist with directing that a proper response be obtained from various agencies like Fleet, HR, etc. And above all, again, the seriousness of the issue also warranted a response to handle any further inquiry.
Thank you, Colonel. What then was the response to your proposal?
I was told to back off. I was told to back off and allow the office of the city manager to handle further media inquiries.
And who told you to back off?
I was informed by the spokesperson for the city of Ekurhuleni, Mr. Julius Mkhwanazi.
And so after the direction that you allow the city manager's office to handle any further inquiries as they relate to the blue lights issue, what was your sense of their response? Please tell the commission what you considered their intervention.
Their efforts did very little to calm the storm, did very little to calm the fire. I recall at a stage, Mr. Dlamini was quoted saying that the vehicles do indeed belong to the EMPD and that he wasn't sure which unit they have been allocated to. It didn't make sense at all, but nonetheless.
And why do you say the response provided by Mr. Dlamini didn't make any sense?
You know, when we speak of EMPD vehicles, we tend to know what vehicles we have within our fleet by virtue of being the end users. So under no circumstance can you come with a V-class and claim it to be an EMPD vehicle. We know the type of vehicles we have as operational vehicles, and those allocated, of course, to our VIPs under protection unit.
And just as a question of clarity, then you say in paragraph 29, the use of black BMWs, the type as identified by Mr. Wicks, were restricted to VIPs. Do you see that?
That is correct.
And not law enforcement. Over the page.
That is correct, Commissioners. So under no circumstance would you find a black BMW within the city of Ekurhuleni doing law enforcement. That is the same vehicle that would never stop vehicles and enforce traffic violation or anything of that sort. But they are directed solely for the purpose of the conveyance of our principles within the Ekurhuleni municipality. That would be the executive mayors, the MMCs, and other city officials.
Your last sentence in paragraph 29, it's at the top of page 9 of your witness statement.
Yes. Oh, yes. Therefore, the lady in the video could not lawfully be ferried in such a vehicle as she was not an EMPD employee, let alone a VIP that we would know of.
And is it therefore correct that, in your view, the response provided by Mr. Dlamini didn't make sense when considered against how the EMPD typically uses the vehicles there?
That would be correct.
Colonel Thepa.
Sorry, Ms. Mkhwanazi, so far, Colonel Thepa has not told us what vehicles Mr. Wicks was inquiring about. And so that paragraph 29 that refers to BMWs does not have a context. Perhaps you should have the witness speak to page 7, at least, which is the letter that she says came with the inquiry, just to list for the record the model of the vehicles that Mr. Wicks was inquiring about.
Thank you, Commissioner. Colonel Thepa, could I ask you to turn to page 6 of your witness statement?
Page 7. Mine is 7.
Oh, the witness statement, yes. Paragraph 19.
I'm there.
Are you there? And just to remind you, this is the email of the 8th of February that was sent to you by Mr. Jeff Wicks. Do you see that?
That is correct.
Thank you. And inside the body of the email, there is some introductory remarks, and there is a list of certain vehicles registered to EMM. That's what is provided in the email.
That is correct.
Okay. Could I ask you, with reference to the 3 vehicles, do you see them there, the 3 vehicles? Yes, to describe the types of vehicles that were referenced there.
The types of vehicles referenced here, I'm not privy to that information. I'm making reference specifically to the video that has been sent by means of WhatsApp to me, where you would see this vehicles being displayed in such a manner where you are able to identify the make and models of such vehicles. Thank you, Commissioners.
And for clarity then, the comment you make in paragraph 29 of your witness statement concerning the use of black BMWs, do you see that? Okay.
Great.
Yes. Your evidence then is that your comment there doesn't reflect the content of Jeff Wicks' email on the 8th of February. Is that correct?
that would be aligned, because it's a follow-up from the initial email sent on the 2nd. So it would be everything inclusive, and that which has been of a physical, tangible thing to be seen by me was the video that has been sent via WhatsApp. And that was when I was able to identify some of this fleet of vehicles.
So the reference in paragraph 29 to the use of black BMWs is a reference to the 2 WhatsApp videos sent to you by Mr. Wicks. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
On the 2nd of February, as described in paragraph 13 of your witness statement.
That would be correct, and leading into the further inquiries. So in essence, I wouldn't be in a position to, like I said, that would be the sole responsibility of the Transport Department under the Fleet section.
Thank you, Colonel. Colonel Thepa, could I then ask you to turn back to page 9 of your witness statement?
On page 9?
From paragraph 30 to 32, you set out the aftermath of the blue light story. Could you detail those events to the Commission, please?
So from paragraph 13, at that time, it became increasing clear that the story was not going to die down. And then in March or April of 2023, I learned that Commissioner Spies had by then referred the matter for an internal investigation under the administration of Lieutenant Colonel Annie Erasmus. This was again attached. It was one of the recipients who was CC'd in the initial response. So the outcome of that process was never communicated with me as the spokesperson. And then I came to know that Brigadier Mkhwanazi was suspended and at a later stage returned to work after the 3-month suspension.
Please proceed to paragraph 32.
You know, though time had passed and there has been other developments within the country, but this Blue Light Blazer story just kept gaining traction for whatever reasons. And, you know, it continued to grow legs and, you know, it made news every time that there would be further developments. The media attention flared up at the news of Brigadier Mkhwanazi's suspension, but above all, his return back to work.
Colonel Thepa, that then introduces a new theme under the heading My Engagements with IPID. That is paragraph 33 of your witness statement.
Yes.
Can I ask you to tell the Commission about your engagements with IPID from paragraph 33?
So during May and June of 2023, I was approached by a Mr. Kulu, who introduced himself as an official investigating the Blue Light saga. But when he had introduced himself, he informed me that he wanted to discuss pertinent issues within the department, one being, of course, the Blue Light saga, and the other being an inquiry where it was alleged that EMPD officers had taken under false pretense a motor vehicle along the R21, and that he was also investigating that story. So with that said, you know, I explained that these issues he wanted to raise were very serious and concerned other individuals within the department. It was only fitting that, you know, I be in attendance with somebody who in turn would be the staff officer in the office of the Chief of Police. And while the staff officer, it's easier for him to then brief the Chief of Police as to the engagement that we had with Investigation Directorate, Priority Crime. With IPID, rather.
IPID. At paragraph 35, please, you know, detail to the Commission what you discussed in that meeting with Mr. Kulu.
So in the nutshell, he had made inquiries as to how the media inquiry was given to us as a department and what responses had we furnished as a department, and just basic stuff that would speak to steps taken by the department in coming to this, what would be his investigation.
You can proceed to paragraph 36.
So that, I had handled the media inquiry and the responses from EMPD was obtained from Commissioner Spies, which I had then taken to be what would be the true reflection of the responses from the department. After that initial meeting, I had further meetings with Mr. Kulu. I had several meetings actually with Mr. Kulu. At subsequent meetings, he introduced me to the members of his team. There was a lady that he had introduced with another gentleman, I think an advocate from the Northwest. I just can't remember their names. So the lady was again from a different province.
Colonel, we know from your evidence as given in the course of this morning that the Blue Lights story was massive. You described that, it was a widespread story, but how widespread was knowledge within the EMPD about the IPID investigation? Was it something publicly known, or was it something known to a limited amount of people? You can answer this question from paragraph 37.
I would suspect that it was known within the department, because all the meetings that would have, or most of the meetings that would have, they would be held at the EMPD offices. And in essence, I wouldn't just attend those meetings alone. At times I would have Colonel Duplessis, and in the one meeting I had one of the media liaison officers, who is Marima Shishi, because she had handled the R21 story and she was better placed or fitted to just assist with collating info on that story.
And in your engagements with Mr. Kulu, what specifically did he require from you for purposes of his investigation?
He requested that we within the department, all those which he had interviewed now, that we reduce to writing statements that would then be submitted as evidence.
And with reference to paragraph 38, what was your response to his request that you prepare a statement?
When we sat with Mr. Kulu in one of the boardrooms, I actually sat across him and needed him to understand the magnitude and the danger which he then seeks to put me in requesting information that he has no intention of following up or even investigating. So I had put it to him in saying that, Mr. Kulu, I really need to understand the seriousness and your commitment into this case, because you are really asking me to take a personal risk.
And what?
Can I just ask a question, Colonel? Why did you believe that you were taking a personal risk simply by providing information about whether or not vehicles belong to EMPD?
Commissioners, in the back of the scene, things are happening as we move forward. And you could just see the nature in which how things are now shifted in saying that, no, the office of the city manager will start handling inquiries moving forth. And furthermore, in saying that, now here's IPID that has came to the party. I'm sure IPID, Mr. Kulu, wasn't the first to be informed or having investigated matters pertaining EMPD. So there was a lot at play in this instant.
Can I just follow up on that? You say in the statement, before I agreed, I stressed to him that the individuals involved in this case are highly connected and powerful. What were you speaking to there? You speak of individuals in the plural. So that's the first question. Who are these individuals that you were speaking to? And then when you say they're highly connected and powerful, what are you speaking to then?
Commissioners, when the initial inquiry came to me and it had made reference to Mr. Vusimusi Cat Matlala, I didn't know the gentleman from a bar of soap. I only got to learn of him as things transpired within the city and South Africa in its entirety. But above all, the fact that communication would be restricted in one office, then that just gave me the shivers in saying that what exactly is at play here. And am I even competent to be attending to same? So that just really created an element of discomfort that I needed him to assure me as to he will then take this process and he will investigate and he will do what is expected. Because, in my opinion, there are certain IPID members that we know who are just captured by a certain system. And it's not a place for me to indulge in that, but it's just things that we know by virtue of being law enforcers.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mafaseri.
Thank you, Commissioner. Colonel Thepa, after you've then shared your concerns with Mr. Zulu, what is his response to you? We're in paragraph 39.
This is responded to on paragraph 39. He had assured me in saying that, rest assured that I'm going to work tirelessly, endlessly, with dedication towards this matter because, I'm not even attached to the Gauteng province's IPID or even Ekurhuleni's IPID, that, a task team has been established or set up for the purpose of this investigation, comprising of people coming from different provinces. So the other two members which he had came with, they were not even from the province which he came from. So it gave a bit of relief to me in saying that, okay, meaning that there is an element of being serious with this matter. So let me just give it my all.
And in that discussion with Mr. Zulu, did he ever explain to you why IPID decided to use a team made up of individuals from outside of Gauteng province?
Yes. They wanted to minimize the risk of threats and, of course, undue influences, and that, the proper team is established for the purpose of investigating this, that will not be infiltrated by powers that be.
And please have regard to the contents of paragraph 40 and inform the Commission what else Mr. Zulu shared with you during that meeting.
So this was on the day he had taken the liberty to come to my house, and we had a discussion after losing a phone, and he informed me that Brigadier Mkhwanazi had told him that I was a dirty cop and that I had a defeating the ends of justice case registered against my name. And, I could see how this was about to unfold going forward.
What is your understanding of the meaning of a dirty cop?
If you're being investigated for issues that are related to blue lights and what his action was contributing to that, how is it defeating the ends of justice case related to his investigation? But nonetheless, I'm more than willing to share what the content of that is, of the defeating the ends of justice, if you so permit. So whilst we had an incident where one of our officers in the EMPD was shot in an attempted hijacking. So I got to the scene, being one of the first higher ranking officers that arrived at the scene. Upon arrival, I'm issued with this firearm, which has been taken out of a vehicle by one of the colleagues, and said to me that I had kept this safe to give to our armory. But since you are here, ma'am, as a ranking officer, please do ensure that it gets to our armory section. And I did precisely that. I called our armory section to come to the scene of the incident. But before they had arrived, an officer from Norcom Park, SAPS, they arrived at the scene where EMPD already had cordoned off the scene. We've used cones to close off what would be remaining cartridges on the scene. But at no given point was the firearm placed anywhere on the scene. It was taken from a vehicle and handed over to me in my capacity as a senior official within the EMPD. And of course, with the intention that from the scene itself, it would be given to our armory section. When this officer, Barbara Ferreira, I think she's a communications officer under the South African Police Services for Norcom Park, she came there and had misconstrued that the firearm was removed from the scene by myself. And of course, I only obtained it from the officer. And furthermore, the officer had explained that no, it wasn't part of the activities of that scene, and that he only kept it with him for safekeeping, and that it was given to me to then give to the armory. And I don't know what the merit of the case is. I don't even know how far it is. It's a 2023 matter, though.
Who would have laid the criminal charge?
It was opened by the very same communications officer. And I think what was misunderstanding there was I am a communications person within the EMPD. I'm here in my capacity as the spokesperson to report on the occurrence of what had transpired. But when she comes as from the South African Police Services and having to want to make communication and just politely declining that, then it just became something of ego testing fights that was very unnecessary. Thank you, Commissioners.
Colonel Thepa, please then just update the Commission on what the status of that criminal complaint is, as you know it.
It's unknown to me. The last we had met up with the investigating officer, Van Veek, also aligned to the Norcom Park detective section. We had taken warning statements. What is the outcome thereof? It's unknown to me, Commissioners.
And in paragraph 41 of your witness statement, paragraph 41 on page 11, you set out some comments or reflections there in light of what Mr. Tsulu disclosed to you. Please share those.
Yeah, it became quite clear that Brigadier Mkhwanazi carried ill wills and, will do anything to discredit anybody who then comes forward and has to reduce to writing or even give statement as to the occurrence of what happened with the Blue Light saga. And furthermore, I think what disturbed Brigadier Mkhwanazi then, it is the fact that how I chose to handle this media inquiry, having to had sent it to the acting chief as opposed to maybe just making him aware of what the developments were within the department.
And if you turn over the page, you go to page 12 of your witness statement. In those last two paragraphs of this theme, please detail to the Commission any further developments after that meeting with Mr. Tsulu.
No, I didn't get any feedback from Mr. Tsulu, but it would be a continuous checking in on how far are we, is there anything. So there was a point I remember where Mr. Tsulu was promising imminent arrests, to say that, we almost on the verge of completion and there would be arrest effected, and as such, just hang 10. But it then became clear that there were 3 individuals whose assistance was critical in this investigation. That would be myself for the role which I had played by virtue of receiving this media inquiry and forwarding it to Commissioner Spies without notifying or involving the Deputy Chief of Police Operations and Specialized Services and or the Brigadier himself, who is the man in question. And again, Commissioner Spies, who had then taken the stance in referring this into an investigation through our internal affairs. And furthermore, Ivan du Plessis, who was then responsible for critical documentation in the Office of the Chief of Police as being the staff officer. And furthermore, the role that he had played in facilitating the information sharing sessions with the IPID.
Thank you, Colonel Thepa. You are now at paragraph 44 in your witness statement. Can I ask you to share the details of that paragraph with the Commission?
It was only later then that I had discovered that this is going to have some effect on me and that I was going to get some blowbacks for the role which I had played. So in essence, in responding to this media inquiry and assisting IPID, powerful individuals were not pleased with the transparent response of the EMPD media unit, and it became clear that I offended some people by responding to the media inquiry in the manner that I did.
Can I then ask you to have regard to paragraph 45 of your statement?
Yes.
Under the new subheading there. Can I invite you to share with the Commission what you experienced in July of 2023?
So in July 2023, it was the day of my first attack. It was a Saturday morning, I remember. I woke up to go to the cemetery where my late mother was. And I also had a relative who had recently bought a car. So I had taken that vehicle and made a turn at the Bredell Cemetery. And coming back, I was well within where I live, the street that I live in Tembisa. I was sitting with a neighbor who was on the passenger seat. And 3 men came up to the vehicle that I was in. They came there. The one that came around to the driver's seat cocked a firearm and pointed it to me. I had the windows down. And he then demanded that I switch off the vehicle. So he put his hand in to try and reach for the keys on the ignition, but it's not the kind that you start manually with the key, it's those press buttons. And there was a lot of things that was being said. Behind me, as I was on the driver's seat, another came in and there was this sharp metal object against my neck. Initially, I thought, yes, a knife that's going to slit my throat, only to discover that that is a firearm. And that, I think what hurt me the most with everything that was said at that point, it was then, it is things that are work related. And the fact that, they want a phone from me and the information which they want, and the fact that they would be, sorry, commissioners. I was hit on the head with a firearm. The accosters shoved me to the side of the passenger seat. They got into the car and they drove off. They drove past my house. And I could see my neighbor who's literally looking inside the vehicle to identify who the drivers are.
Ms. Thepa, should we take a short adjournment for you to compose yourself, perhaps?
Please, Commissioner.
Let us adjourn. You will please indicate to us, Ms. Mkhwanazi.